Imagine dropping, I don't know, $350,000 on a house that you've only ever seen through a shaky smartphone camera.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Right. Like you haven't walked the neighborhood, you haven't checked the commute,
Hmm?
you definitely haven't smelled the carpet.
Oh, the smell test is crucial.
It really is. But for a third of military families moving to San Antonio this year, that isn't some, real estate nightmare scenario. It's just a regular Tuesday.
It is the reality of a modern PCS, for sure.
Mm.
You are basically executing this high-stakes financial transaction from maybe 1,000 miles away.
Right.
And you're doing it on a strict timeline and operating entirely within this very unique framework of military benefits.
Well, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are sorting through a literal mountain of 2026 data to help families navigating orders to JBSA, so Joint Base San Antonio.
Yeah.
We're getting into the mechanics of the housing market in Military City, USA.
Which is a beast of a market, by the way.
It really is. We're breaking down the latest BAH rate updates, the whole geographic puzzle of a metro area that houses 3 massive installations, the reality of property taxes, and how to basically weaponize your VA loan.
I like that. Weaponize it.
Yeah, in a market that is uniquely positioned for it.
We have to establish right away why a strategic approach is mandatory here. Because San Antonio is, arguably the most military-friendly major city in the country.
Absolutely.
But its sheer size and the current market dynamics mean you can't just wing it. If you don't have a plan, you risk completely squandering the financial leverage your housing allowance actually provides.
Right, because it's huge.
It is. To frame this up, JBSA is a massive, sprawling hub containing Randolph, Fort Sam Houston, and Lackland. And right now, the 2026 median home price in the metro is hovering around $275,000 to $310,000.
Okay, let's put that median price in the context of the VA loan, because this is where the math gets fun. For 2026, the VA loan limit for Bexar County is $832,750 for borrowers without full entitlement.
This is a big caveat.
I want to pause on that caveat, actually, because it's really important. A lot of folks moving to JBSA might already own a home at their previous duty station.
Right, maybe they kept their house in Fort Liberty or Nellis.
Exactly. They decided to rent it out. So their VA entitlement is partially tied up. That's where these county limits actually come into play.
Yes.
But because the median home price in San Antonio is so far below that $832,000 ceiling.
It's like a third of it.
Yeah. Even buyers with tied-up entitlement can often still purchase a home with zero down.
And that means the market perfectly aligns with the benefit. You don't have to scramble for a jumbo VA loan or worry about bringing a massive down payment to the table just to cover the gap between the county limit and the home price.
Right.
The benefit works exactly the way it was engineered to work.
Okay, let's unpack this housing allowance data, because this is where the strategy really starts. Looking at the 2026 numbers, the BAH for JBSA actually dropped.
It did.
It dropped 2.9% across most pay grades. And my immediate instinct, looking at that red number, is to just pump the brakes.
Sure.
If BAH drops, it feels significantly riskier to buy off base right now. Wouldn't the standard play be to just get on the wait list for privatized on-base housing, let them take the BAH, and avoid the risk of a fluctuating market?
It's the logical assumption, but you have to look at the actual mechanisms driving those two options.
No.
First, regarding the BAH drop, the DoD rate protection policy, the grandfathering, shields you if you are already receiving the higher 2025 rate in San Antonio.
Right, so you don't lose money if you're already there.
Exactly. You keep that higher rate as long as your eligibility remains continuous. Now, incoming families, they will get the new slightly lower rate.
Got it.
But even with that 2.9% dip, the on-base alternative is fundamentally broken right now due to inventory.
So wait lists are basically brick walls.
Oh, they dictate the entire timeline. At Lackland, you are looking at up to a 6-month wait for a standard 3-bedroom unit.
6 months. Wow.
Yeah. And at Fort Sam Houston, it's the 2 to 4 month delay. The logistics of keeping a family in temporary lodging or a short-term rental for half a year while trying to integrate into a new command.
Yeah, that's impossible.
It's completely unworkable for most people.
So you were almost forced off base just by the calendar.
Basically, yes.
But I want to look at the financial side of that forced move, what we call the pocket math.
Love the pocket math.
Because living on base means forfeiting your entire BAH to the property management company. You never see it.
Yep.
But if you buy off base using that zero down VA loan, you are injecting that allowance directly into your own equity.
Let's run the actual math on that purchasing power. Because the structure of BAH gives you a massive hidden advantage.
Okay, lay it on me.
In 2026, the BAH for an E6 with dependents in San Antonio is $2,094 a month.
Right.
When you go to a lender to get pre-approved, they don't just look at that $2,094 because BAH is a non-taxable allowance.
Meaning the IRS doesn't touch it.
Exactly. So lenders use a mechanism called grossing up when they calculate your debt-to-income ratio, or DTI.
Let's break down how that gross up actually changes the application, because this is huge.
It really is. Typically, a lender will multiply your non-taxable BAH by 1.25. They gross it up by 25% because they know the government isn't taking a slice of it like they do with standard civilian W-2 income.
Right.
So that $2,094 BAH is effectively treated as $2,617 of qualifying income by the underwriter.
That is wild. That is an extra, what, $523 of phantom income every single month?
Every month.
Over the course of a year, that is over $6,000 of additional income applied to your DTI.
Yeah.
That fundamentally changes your back-end ratio. It means that $2,000 BAH is carrying significantly more weight than a comparable civilian salary.
Way more weight.
Which gives a mid-grade NCO or a junior officer incredible leverage to cover the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance on a $300,000 home.
It's the primary reason military buyers absolutely dominate the middle tier of the San Antonio market.
I bet.
But having the purchasing power is only the first step. The execution requires understanding the geography.
Because JBSA is huge.
It isn't a single installation you can just easily map a commute around. It is a sprawling triangle stretched across a massive metropolitan area.
Yeah, a commute survival guide is absolutely essential here. You can't just find a beautiful listing on Zillow, check the price, and assume it works.
No, you'll be miserable.
You might find yourself locked into an hour-and-a-half drive every morning.
Easily.
Let's map this out, starting with Lackland down on the southwest side.
Okay, so if you are pulling daily duty at Lackland, you need to restrict your search to the southwest and far west corridors.
Makes sense.
Westover Hills and Alamo Ranch are the heavy hitters for newer developments.
Okay.
If you have a slightly higher budget, Helotes is highly sought after.
Oh, I've heard of Helotes.
Yeah, it gives you this fantastic, rugged, hill country topography and larger lots, with homes typically starting around the $320,000 mark.
Nice. Okay, moving to the center of the map, we have Fort Sam Houston. It is centrally located, basically northeast of downtown.
Yeah.
And when you look at the map, neighborhoods like Alamo Heights and Terrell Hills are right there. They are beautiful, historic, established neighborhoods, literally minutes from the gate.
Very true.
But when I look at the pricing, we are talking $350,000 to well over $500,000. And more importantly, we are talking about very old housing stock.
That age is the critical factor for a VA buyer. It's not just about the price tag, you know. It's about the VA's minimum property requirements, the MPRs.
Oh, right.
The VA appraisal process is notoriously strict when it comes to older homes. The appraiser is mandated to verify safety, soundness, and sanitation.
What does that actually look like in practice during an appraisal in a historic neighborhood? Like, give me an example.
Okay, it means a chipped windowsill with potential lead-based paint will halt the loan.
Wow. Just chipped paint.
Yes. A roof that the appraiser determines has less than 3 years of functional life left will halt the loan. An older deck missing a proper handrail or evidence of wood-destroying insects, which are all super common in 70-year-old historic homes.
Right, of course.
Those become mandatory repairs. The seller has to fix them before the VA will fund the loan.
And in a competitive market, I'm guessing a seller might just bypass your VA offer entirely?
Exactly. They'll just take a conventional loan offer to avoid dealing with the MPR repair list.
That is a massive strategic insight. You might have the budget for Alamo Heights, but the MPRs could completely derail your timeline.
They absolutely can.
Now, what happens when you introduce the ultimate geographic complication, the dual military couple?
Oh, the dual mill.
Yeah. One spouse is at Lackland in the southwest, the other is at Fort Sam in the center, or maybe Randolph in the northeast.
It requires a very calculated compromise. And the data points heavily to Stone Oak.
Stone Oak, okay.
It sits in the north-central corridor. It's a geographic sweet spot. Neither spouse is going to get a 5-minute drive. But by positioning yourself in Stone Oak, you prevent one spouse from bearing the entire burden of an hour-long, soul-crushing commute across the city.
That makes total sense. Share the pain a little bit.
Exactly.
Let's shift to the third point of the JBSA triangle, because this is where the most intense debate seems to be happening. Randolph Air Force Base in the Northeast Corridor.
Oh, yeah. The suburb showdown.
The ultimate showdown. We are looking at a three-way battle. Schertz versus Cibolo versus New Braunfels.
Right.
And I'm going to challenge the conventional wisdom here for a second. The data shows New Braunfels is incredibly popular, and I get why. It's got the Comal River, a vibrant downtown, the hill country aesthetic, and top-tier schools. From an investment standpoint, isn't real estate ultimately about appreciation? Like, if I pay the premium to buy in a highly desirable, geographically constrained area like New Braunfels, aren't I securing a much better long-term asset than buying a cookie-cutter house in a former cornfield closer to base?
I mean, from a pure asset appreciation standpoint, your logic is totally sound. Highly desirable lifestyle markets do hold value, and they appreciate aggressively.
Right.
The problem is the timeline and the daily friction of a military assignment.
Okay, walk me through that.
The premium in New Braunfels is severe. Housing costs are 48.6% higher than the San Antonio baseline.
Whoa. 48%.
Yeah, you are eating up your entire BAH and then some just for the zip code. But the real killer is the infrastructure.
Oh, you mean the I-35 bottleneck?
Interstate 35 is basically the only primary artery connecting New Braunfels to Randolph. On a map, it looks like a straight 30-minute shot.
Sure.
In reality, during morning PT hours or the afternoon release, that commute routinely swells to an hour each way.
An hour each way.
You are talking about spending 10 hours a week in your car.
Ouch.
Commuter fatigue is a very real factor that degrades your quality of life, no matter how close you are to a river on Saturday.
Yeah, the 10 hours a week metric really puts it into perspective. If you are a daily commuter, the river probably isn't worth the windshield time.
Usually not.
That leaves us with Schertz and Cibolo, which border each other right outside the Randolph gates. How does a buyer actually differentiate between the two?
Well, you are choosing between established convenience and booming expansion. Schertz is the practical choice.
Okay.
You are 5 to 12 minutes from the gate. The neighborhoods have mature trees, immediate access to the interstate, and established local staples like Bussier's flea market.
Right, so it's very settled.
Exactly. Cibolo, on the other hand, is defined by new construction. It adds about 8 to 12 minutes to your commute compared to Schertz, but you are getting larger lots, brand new amenities like the EVO cinemas, and you are buying homes built in the last 2 years.
But there is a massive hidden advantage with that new construction in Cibolo right now, isn't there? I'm talking about the builder rate buy-downs.
Oh, that is the real aha moment for buyers comparing the two. National builders in Cibolo, like Chesmar, are frequently offering significant interest rate buy-downs if you use their in-house lender.
Wow.
They might offer you a locked 5.5% rate on a brand new home.
Okay.
Meanwhile, a slightly cheaper, older resale home in Schertz is going to be subject to the standard market rate of, say, 6.5%.
So when you run the actual monthly math, the $350,000 new build in Cibolo could have a cheaper monthly payment than the $320,000 older home in Schertz,
Yes,
purely because of the cost of capital.
exactly. The financing mechanisms dictate the affordability way more than the sticker price. However,
Uh-oh.
you cannot talk about affordability in Texas without addressing the state's tax structure.
This is the financial landmine we absolutely have to uncover,
Yeah.
because Texas famously has no state income tax. Everyone loves that line on the brochure. But the state government still has to fund roads and schools, which means they extract that revenue somewhere else.
And that's somewhere else's property taxes.
Right.
The property tax rates in Bexar, Comal, and Guadalupe counties are aggressive. You are typically looking at baseline rates between 2.1% and 2.8% of the assessed value.
Which is huge.
On a $300,000 home, you are paying upwards of $7,000 a year just in property taxes,
Wow.
which gets rolled directly into your monthly escrow payment.
And if you go with that shiny new build in Cibolo we just talked about, you have an additional layer of taxation to deal with, don't you? The MUD tax?
Oh yeah, municipal utility district taxes.
What exactly is that?
So when developers build these massive new subdivisions in areas where the city infrastructure hasn't reached yet, they issue bonds to pay for the new water lines, sewers, and roads.
Okay.
Those bonds are paid back by the homeowners in that specific subdivision via MUD taxes.
Oh, I see.
It can add another 0.5% or more to your overall tax burden.
That will absolutely wreck your DTI if your lender isn't factoring it in early.
It will. But Texas also offers one of the most powerful hacks in the country for military buyers to offset this.
Let's hear it.
The disabled veteran property tax exemption.
Oh,
It alters the math entirely. The state offers a sliding scale of property tax exemptions based on your VA disability rating.
okay.
It starts with a $5,000 reduction off your assessed value for a 10% to 29% rating.
Which is nice, but not earth-shattering.
Right. But if you have a 100% disability rating, Texas grants a 100% total property tax exemption on your primary residence.
Wait, you pay zero property tax.
Literally zero.
That saves you $6,000 to $8,000 a year, which stays right in your pocket.
Every single year. And then there is the Texas Mortgage Credit Certificate, the MCC. The data says it offers up to $2,000 a year. But let's explain how the MCC mechanically works, because people constantly confuse tax deductions with tax credits.
Yeah, it is a critical distinction.
A tax deduction simply lowers your total taxable income. A tax credit, which is what the MCC provides, lowers your actual tax bill, dollar for dollar.
Got it.
If you do your federal taxes and find out you owe the IRS $5,000, applying your $2,000 MCC credit means you now only owe $3,000.
That is incredible. It is a direct injection of capital back into your household every single year you live in the home and pay the mortgage.
It really is.
Now, we have to touch on one environmental factor before we talk about execution. When people visualize moving to San Antonio, they just think of the heat.
Right, it's Texas.
Exactly. They rarely think about flooding.
And it catches out-of-state buyers every single year. The topography of the Texas Hill Country acts as a giant geological funnel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when massive rainstorms hit, the water rushes down the limestone and funnels directly into Bexar County. Creeks like Salado and Leon can rise incredibly fast, creating these severe flash flood zones.
That sounds terrifying.
If you buy in one of those zones, you are looking at mandatory flood insurance that can add $800 to $2,500 to your annual expenses. You have to verify the localized Bexar County flood risk maps, not just the broad FEMA maps.
Okay, let's transition to the actual execution of this mission. We know the math, we know the map, we know the tax traps and the flood zones.
Yep.
But how do you actually close on a house when you are stationed in, say, Germany? Because relying on a video tour still feels totally wild to me.
It is entirely reliant on having a real estate agent who acts as a specialized tactical proxy.
A proxy.
Yeah. About a third of JBSA buyers close completely remotely.
Yeah.
The way it works successfully is that your agent isn't just pointing a FaceTime camera at the granite countertops.
Right.
They are doing the physical due diligence that you literally can't do.
They are conducting the smell test.
Literally. They are checking for damp, musty smells. They're turning the camera around to show you that the beautiful driveway actually backs out onto a blind curve.
Oh, that's huge. You'd never see that in photos.
Never. They are looking over the back fence to see if you are bordering a noisy commercial loading dock or driving through the neighborhood to see if half the houses have rental signs in the yard, which really changes the community dynamic.
They are providing the context that real estate photography is specifically designed to crop out.
Exactly. But none of that video tour matters if you haven't secured your VA pre-approval before you even start looking.
Right.
The speed of the market just demands it. You need to know exactly how your grossed-up BAH translates into purchasing power, factoring in the specific tax rate of the county you're looking in.
Because if your agent finds the perfect home in Schertz and you wait until then to call a lender,
That house will be under contract with someone else before your paperwork is even processed.
yeah, this all builds to a final, incredibly important concept. You've navigated the commute, you've leveraged your BAH, you've secured the house. But what happens in 3 years when the military inevitably hands you new PCS orders?
The exit strategy.
Yes, this is what we call the exit strategy paradox.
San Antonio is a phenomenal rental market because you have a captive, rotating audience of incoming military families.
Right, there's always someone new moving in.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So naturally, many buyers plan to turn their JBSA home into an investment property when they leave. But you have to remember how those incredible Texas benefits actually function.
Right, I look at this like a real estate Cinderella situation.
How so?
Well, the clock strikes midnight the day you move out. Those massive benefits, the disabled veteran homestead exemption that wipes out your property taxes, and the MCC that gives you a $2,000 tax credit,
Yep.
they are legally tied to your primary residence.
And the very second you change your address and convert that home into a rental property, those exemptions vanish.
Poof.
Your property taxes instantly shoot back up to the full 2.5% rate. The $300 a month you were cash flowing on paper suddenly evaporates.
Your cash flowing carriage turns into a pumpkin because your monthly escrow payment just skyrocketed.
Precisely. The math fundamentally changes the moment you pack those boxes. So the provocative thought you have to answer before you ever sign a purchase contract is this: are you buying a home simply to afford your current 3-year tour, or are you strategically buying a property that will still cash flow as the first piece of your future real estate portfolio without those tax crutches?
It's the ultimate question for any military buyer. You have the leverage, you just have to deploy it with your eyes wide open to the future. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Military City, USA. Keep unpacking the data, and we will catch you on the next one.